What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Auto. My name is Max, and today we are at Ascari in Spain, in Ronda, to drive the all-new Porsche 992.2 Carrera and GTS. So I'll start with this 911 Carrera 4 GTS convertible. Then we'll take it for a drive on a beautiful road near here, and in the afternoon we'll take it for a track blast. I think we'll be driving a Carrera as well and a rear-wheel driven GTS. So I'll try to incorporate that in the video as well. For now, let's start with a walk around, because the 992.2 is a big change. Now, we know that Porsche likes to do this. They like to give big updates with facelifts. So for the 997, for instance, the PDK was introduced with the facelift. The 991 went from naturally aspirated to turbocharged. And this time we've got hybridization. We've got an electric turbo, basically, that assists the engine, which is now a single turbo, flat six, 3.6 liter instead of 3 liters. So it's a completely different animal, this, which is kind of cool. I like that. So let's start at the front. Got some cars here in the background, very nice. So let's start at the front, because this is one of the most recognizable changes for the GTS, at least, the active aero flaps in the bumper. So I've actually not seen them closed yet, but they close when the car is like in eco mode or cruise mode. Doesn't need the additional cooling, but if you go to Sport Plus, they automatically open, or when you're just driving along and the car senses that it needs more cooling, obviously they open. And there's also a second part behind this. So basically behind the cooling here in the floor of the car, there's an additional active diffuser that raises up when these open. So because you have this, you have more lift in the front, and then you have a little active spoiler basically that gets you like to neutral again, which is cool. We've got new headlight design as well. They got rid of all the lights in the bumper, and that went into the headlight unit with this new DRL design as well. Lovely bonnet still with the two lines in there. Then we have these gorgeous 20-inch center lock wheels for the GTS. These are 245 tires at the front, and we've got the steel brakes on this car, and we've got Goodyear Eagle F1s. We've got the T hybrid badge there on the side, so that is to let you know that you've got an electric turbocharger. We've got a new exhaust placement as well. They're also introducing some more individualization, so you can get a titanium exhaust, you can get some carbon bits for the diffuser, you can get a big wing as well on the coupe. So yeah, that's also cool. Looking forward to that. Also some carbon aero blades on the wheels. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that in real life. We also have a new design for the little bonnet here. Let's open that up. So that is the bonnet. You can see, you can see two fans, that's it. But it's a new 3.6 liter, completely new engine, as I said, compared to the previous 3 liter. And then it's got an electric turbocharger, an electric motor integrated into the exhaust gas turbocharger. Basically, the turbocharger is much larger than before, and it's a single turbo now. So to kind of mitigate the turbo lag, they have an electric motor inside the turbo. They also have an electric motor integrated into the PDK. So the electric motor in the turbocharger is on the shaft, and it can immediately boost the turbo basically. So it spools up almost instantly, and it can also regenerate power. So if you are full on the throttle and you're doing like high revs, it can also regenerate energy from the turbo, from the exhaust gases. So it's a very, very smart system, and it's basically there to eliminate any turbo lag and to increase efficiency. And well, we're going to find out what that feels like today. Interior wise, we also have a big change, which is the fact that we don't have an analog rev counter anymore. It's gone. They held on to it for a long time, but we have a digital screen now. You knew it was going to happen, unfortunately. It does look very good. I mean, it's a super nice system, and everything works really well. Nice design as well with the 5 dials. You can still have that, and the Sport Plus dial basically is this one, which is nice because it has the red line at the top there, and you have some important info on the side. So it is hot as hell. We're going to get the wind deflector up, and we're going to get the AC down on my face. Let's start her up. We've got a regular start button here, which is also a big change. Used to have that like key thing. And let's go for a little drive. We have a predetermined route which takes half an hour, and that should be exactly what we've got. So here we go. Power wise, we've got 541 horsepower from this new 3.6 and 610 newton meters of torque. And 610 newton meters of torque. Top speed is 312. And the GTS should do 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. 3.1 since this is a convertible. Launch control. Oh. Whoa. That is quick. So the beautiful thing is that electric motor on the PDK adds a maximum of 150 newton meters, and then you've got the electric turbocharger with up to 15 horsepower added, and both of those things mean that you have instant power. So I can show you guys by doing a launch control. So the blue line on the speedo is the electric power. So if I do a launch control right here, no one behind me, boom, you can see you get the boost immediately from the get-go. And it just means that your power delivery is so instant, and the dip that there used to be with the launch control with 911s is just gone. And so the drivetrain, the engine feels even less turbocharged than before. And believe me, it didn't feel turbocharged to begin with, but now it's just like, it's so linear. So the GTS used to be a best of version, like they would include all the most popular and the most sporty options. But because so many people want a GTS and they kind of wait for it, they decided to introduce it from the start. So the Carrera and the GTS are the first 2 cars available of the new 911. The brakes are also a bit bigger than before, and we still have, I mean, this power steering is so good. It's so nice and heavy, it's well weighted, it gives you a ton of feel. And even in this convertible, which weighs 1675 kilos compared to the 1595 of the coupe, I mean, still, it's so lovely to drive. So because this is a GTS, of course, you also get the sport suspension 10 millimeters lower. It has active roll stabilization. Porsche tends to throw everything they've got at the GTS because it's like their sweet spot of the range, right? It's like not as hardcore as a GT3, but it's a little bit more sporty than a Carrera S. So it's basically the best of both worlds. just, you just know that when you drive a new Porsche, you just know that you'll get in and you'll just feel right at home. It's so good. And before people really knew what this hybridization was going to mean for the 911, of course there were a lot of complaints. But I mean, if you can do it like this, the Porsche way, of course, very innovative. I mean, this works. You don't feel it. You just don't feel like anything is happening. Which I think is the biggest compliment you can give them, because that means that it's working. Of course, it doesn't feel as analog and as mechanical as Porsches used to feel, but they have been able to maintain and capture that 911 feeling that we love and put it into sort of a modern interpretation of what a 911 can be. So lovely. So again, we've got a big change. Rumor has it a manual is also coming back, so that is great. As I said, from launch we've got the Carrera and the GTS. The GTS also gets rear wheel steering as standard, and even though it has that, it's only 50 kilos heavier than the previous GTS. So that is kind of impressive. Whoa, 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 that's very bumpy. So that's very impressive because they have added a little battery pack at the front, 27 kilos. So yeah, I mean, are there any downsides? I don't think so. Still have a proper rev limiter as well. It doesn't auto upshift in manual mode. Even though, you know, it's 1675, it's not a light car by any means. But it does feel like you can throw it around a little bit and it just responds to your inputs so well. This GTS also gets a bit of a quicker steering rack, so the steering is a bit more direct, which feels very natural. It just feels so eager to turn in. So I've also brought Dragy with me, so let's do a 0 to 100 measurement. Let's see what it will do. 3.1 claimed. That is 3.1 on the money, because of course it is. All right, let's head out to the track and see what it's like over there. So welcome in the Porsche 992.2 GTS T hybrid at Ascari, which is one of the coolest tracks I've been to. It really is. It feels amazing because you have undulations, you have a little bit of a carousel, like Laguna Seca almost, but in a sort of a miniature version of that. And I have to say, I just came out of that Carrera, which is an amazing car. It really is. It's so much fun, especially now with hot tires. It's sliding around like crazy, but we've got basically the same temperature in these tires, maybe a bit less. But this car is just so planted. It feels so incredibly solid. And the way this thing picks up with that electric turbocharger is just nuts. Now, I just learned another really cool fact about the turbo. They showed us an animation of the Nürburgring lap. It did almost 9 seconds faster than the previous gen GTS. And the turbocharger can actually feed power back into the battery, the motor in the turbocharger, but it can also feed energy to the electric motor. So you can actually have the situation where the mechanical turbo is delivering power, but the electric turbo basically is also delivering power, which is, I don't know how they thought of that, but that is just nuts. Oh, that was a bit too fast in there. I mean, it's my, like, I don't know, 10th lap here, so I still really have to get used to the track because we're doing like the big lap. But the way the electric motors fill like the gaps, oh my god, it just picks up so well. The way it fills up the gaps is just crazy. So we dip down here on the left, very cool corner. So everything is happening underneath, right? So you have the battery in the front, you have the electric turbocharger, you have the regular turbocharger, you have the electric motor in the PDK, you have the PDK itself, and everything is working so well together. It's kind of outrageous. He's struggling in the Carrera there. So, because you have this incredibly direct steering, it just feels like the car is listening to you and obeying your every input so well. You just hit a cone. It is magical, this car, it really is. This is the most daily usable supercar or sports car, whatever you want to call it, out there, but still, when you go to a track, you can have so much fun and just have such a rewarding driving experience. Oh, that was it. That was it. The difference between this, that and this is enormous. It really is. This feels so much more tied down and just planted. It's of course also because you have the GTS suspension, it's 10 millimeters lower. You just feel like everything has been set up a little bit better to be able to cope with track use. And it's really cool to experience it back to back like this. So I hope you enjoyed this video as well. It's been a hoot. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. You can also check out this video on the right or this playlist on the left. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.